We've made it back to Advent, beginning of a new church year in this time of preparation, anticipation for the celebration of Christmas. And as I always do, and as I'm getting ready for the weekend, I was looking at the readings and praying through and writing my homily and trying to figure out exactly what, Lord, do you want me to say to your people? And really especially desire to, to help all of us make sure that we are indeed awake, that we are watching, waiting, anticipating God's movement in our lives. And I finished this homily and it's like, I don't like it at all. Doesn't say what I wanted to say. But instead, the Lord kept drawing me back to this first reading. It's a beautiful prayer through Isaiah, the prophet. And I think it really expresses what our hearts should be, what should be going on in our hearts during this time of Advent. It begins, "You, Lord, are our Father, our Redeemer. You are named forever." So that's really my desire through this Advent, is that we come to experience the Lord in this kind of deep personal way. That we are convinced that He's our Father, that He has come to save us, to redeem us. And then these next lines are so poignant. "Why do you let us wander, O Lord, from your ways, and harden our hearts so that we fear you not?" Later on it says, "We've all withered like leaves. Our guilt carries us away like the wind." And I think it expresses maybe something we feel sometimes of our inadequacies, our inabilities to be who our longings, what we want to really be. And there's times which we're convinced, I'm not as happy as I really would desire. I want more for myself, for my family, but it feels like I just can't do it. I don't know how to make that happen. Or we look at the extent of the evil in the world, the hate, the violence, and we know that it's not fine. And we feel powerless to do anything about it. We don't know what to do. The many pressures that we have, even as a priest, there's times where there's so many things I need to pray for, and I just feel like very pitiful in my own prayers, or my ability to lead parishes into the future. And of course, the season is not all about all these negative things, but they arise in our minds at times. And that's why the next line is so wonderful. "Return for the sake of your servants, the tribes of your heritage. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down." That you would rend the heavens and come down. In those moments when we feel absolutely inadequate for what we desire, that we realize that we can't accomplish the things that we long for, is that our prayer? To ask the Lord to come down. Come into my life right now, the life of my family. Are we convinced that He has done that already? Because that's really what Advent is all about. It's looking back at the time when He did, when He rent those heavens and He came down as one of us, a tiny child in a manger. That's what we're preparing for during this Advent season, the celebration of Christmas. And also we believe that He will come again. He will break through at the end of time. And all the things that seem to be wrong will be made right. Rend the heavens and come down. Are we convinced that He does that in our lives every day? Well, that's just as important during this Advent time, is that we're ready, we're awake, that we recognize that we're seeking Him, because He wants to do that. He's not going to just wait until the end of time. He didn't just do it 2,000 years ago, but now, individually in our lives. So hopefully during this Advent we grow in our ability to cry out the way that they do here. God, come down. I need you right now. These things I cannot do on my own. It is too much for me. But I know you can work mighty works. And that's what our our Advent wreath reminds us, the circular wreath reminds us of the eternity of God, as well as the evergreen leaves, the leaves that never die in the wintertime. Those remind us of God's unending love and care for us. There's also an aspect of this season of repentance, of turning back to Him, as the violet color is meant to represent, especially during the first couple weeks of Advent. There is this allowing God to break through into our lives and into our hearts, especially through one of the great gifts that He gives us, the sacrament of reconciliation. We always have it available on Saturday afternoons, and we'll have our parish penance service this evening at 7 p.m. So especially if you haven't been in a while, to come and open yourself up so that the Lord can reach down in, especially in those places where it feels like you just can't do it on your own. And recognizing how He breaks in, that leads us to the third Sunday of Advent, represented by the rose color, the color of joy. The latter half of the Advent season is how that joy begins to grow well within us as we come to celebrate together in our families the greatest moment that ever occurred, when God Himself broke in at that time. And because He broke in at that time, to be convinced throughout the course of this entire Advent that He continues to do that. That He is longing, He is waiting to do that. To open our hearts to let Him, to turn to Him in this way, to ask Him, inviting Him, and be prepared in hope for Him to do it.